Hello, welcome into Chris Creates the World, my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to rank the countries in Europe that I have been to. So full disclaimer, it is not every country, so if you're looking for things on the Iberian Peninsula, Italy, the Balkans, the Baltics, stuff like that, it's not a comprehensive list. I didn't get too much of Eastern Europe, but I did go on a summer odyssey to a lot of different places, and so I thought I would rank them all for you. So I have vlogs of all the different places I've been. Started off in France and went to a few different places there. Went to Luxembourg, Belgium, into Germany, over to Hungary, up through Slovakia, back into Germany, and then up to Sweden and Denmark, and then over to London to finish it off. And I've also been to the Netherlands a few years ago, so we're going to include that in this list as well. So this is my list of those countries, which ones are the best ones, which ones are a little overrated, who gets a bad rep, and all that. At the end of the video, I gave a list of the top European countries that are on my bucket list, so you can make sure to subscribe and see any of the content that I hopefully create there soon. Let's begin. Number 10 on our list is the smallest country that I've ever been to, Luxembourg. It's a tiny, small little area. There's some cool historical points there. I did have a really good dish. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'll write it right here as I'm showing you the picture. The people were there were really friendly. They don't have an official language. They speak a bunch of different stuff. French, Luxembourgish, German, English. They're all pretty common there, so I got by with English just fine. I hear hiking is really beautiful there, but to be honest, there wasn't a lot to do there. I kind of was just like, cool, I'm in Luxembourg. And then I moved on. Number 9 on the list is a bit more eastern, over towards Central Europe, and that is Slovakia. Now I only spent one day in Bratislava, so it's not a good comprehensive list necessarily overall, but it does have a cute, quaint little old town and tourist area that you can explore. It was really well preserved, and there's a big castle, and they have the big UFO tower that you can go up on top, and they're really proud of that. It was a really relaxing day just to wander around the city and see the different kind of sights. It was not only really well preserved, but also has kind of a modern feel to it, and it was really happy and lively. Other than that, it is fairly flat. The Danube River runs through it. I don't know what all much else there is to do there. It's definitely worth at least one day to stop, and you could spend more there if you do some of your own research. Number 8 on the list is Denmark, up into the Scandinavian area. So Denmark is beautiful. It's mostly a bunch of little islands, and it was really quiet, really peaceful. The people were all really kind, so it was a great relaxing stay. We did a ton of Viking stuff there. They have a huge Viking museum called the Mosegard Museum. They have a Viking moot once a year, kind of like a little Renaissance fair type thing. I didn't actually go into Copenhagen, the biggest city, the bike capital of the world. That is definitely on the list to do. We did more of the peninsula side. Aarhus and Ribe. I can put the video in one of the links up here at the end. It's actually one of my most viewed videos, and I hope you enjoy it. If you're going through Denmark, pretty much everyone speaks English. You will not have a problem with that. It's fun to ride on some of the ferries and stuff to different cities, or if you go over to Sweden that way, that is a lot of fun. Which brings me to my next country. Number 7 is Sweden. So I did these sort of in rapid proximity. That might be why they're kind of blurred together in my mind. But Sweden was really cool, beautiful, beautiful. I was up in Stockholm for several days, and then I spent a day in Gothenburg, and they were very different towns from each other. Gothenburg's smaller, much more industrial, but still some kind of cool stuff to see and very different, whereas Stockholm is this clean, picturesque city with castles and a big archipelago and a network of ferries and tons of museums. So there's lots to learn there, lots to see. You can get some really fresh seafood in Sweden, and of course, being Scandinavia, their English is excellent, so no problems there. You'll get along just fine. And Sweden is definitely on one of the top of the list for me to go back to, because there's so much beautiful nature and forest there that I really want to see it and get out there, and it's really easy to go camp. Number 6, not too far away, the Netherlands. The lowlands of Holland are super beautiful, super picturesque. They have all the windmills, and it looks just like the movies. Things are fairly simple to navigate as well, using all the European public transport. Amsterdam itself is this really historical city. It's super fun to wander through the canals. I spent 3-4 days there. There's a ton of bikes. It's really easy to navigate, and there's a beautiful view and picture-perfect postcard moment around every corner. It's a short proximity to the beach if you go in the summer. There's also castles and stuff nearby. And this is one of the easiest countries to go to if you speak English as well. All the road signs are in Dutch and then in English. And if you're into the party scene, obviously Amsterdam is the place to go as well. But there is more history down throughout some of the other regions as well. Super welcoming place. You can find everything you need there. 5, Hungary. My Hungarian friends are going to be disappointed that it is this far down my list, because Hungary had the best dish in Europe that I had. The Hungarian stuffed cabbage was amazing. My favorite dish the whole time I was over there. So if you go to Hungary, make sure to try the Hungarian stuffed cabbage. I know what you're thinking, it sounds a little odd, but it's really good. It's got some different spices and stuff thrown in there, and it's got a little bit of sour, and it's savory, and it's really good. Make sure you try that on out. The Hungarian people are really proud of their home, and so they love to show you around and tell you all about Hungary and its rich history. And Budapest has a ton of history, so much that we kind of don't learn about over here, and it was a major hub in the old world. And there's the bathhouses that are still there from the old days, and those are beautiful and super historical, and you can go in and just sit in the water, and it's really, really nice. And again, a big party destination if you're into that, in some of the baths as well. I did a lot in one day. You can see my vlog of that. The Fisherman's Bastion offers a beautiful, beautiful view of the Parliament House, Budapest's most famous structure, and you can take a river cruise as well. So Budapest, absolutely worth it. 4 is a little bit cheatery. It's the UK, but honestly, it's really just London. I only went to London, and then I took a short day trip up to York to visit a friend. But London is sort of the capital of the world, right? So it's huge. It's this massive, sprawling city. There's iconic things everywhere. The red phone booths, the red double-decker buses, everything. The tube symbol, the underground, and there's museums on museums on museums there. And as one of the big kind of world capitals, there's food from all over the world there. It's super easy to navigate, and of course seeing Big Ben is always fun, but it is pretty expensive. I would say London is the most expensive city I've been to, even throughout Europe. So there's that. The next country gets sort of a bad rap that I don't think is really fair, and that's why it's number 3 on my list, France. So in my opinion, if there was not a language barrier with France, I feel like it would be the most similar to America culture-wise, at least socially. It was very comfortable wandering around, but the language barrier was quite big. But I would say Paris was one of my favorite cities over there. I thought it was gonna be kind of lame, the city of love, like whatever, and it's awesome. There's so much stuff to do. There's so many places to see. You're gonna do a lot of walking, but the metro connects everything super well. It's a beautiful city. There's tons of French food everywhere. In my opinion, the French food was fine. It's okay. That's because I was on a poor backpacking budget. To get the real high French cuisine, you kind of need some money. Except the desserts and the bakeries. Those were amazing. So the French desserts, no one does desserts better than France. The sweets and the bread and everything in the bakeries, live off those if you're a backpacker. People told me that, and that was the best advice I received, and it was fantastic. There's tons and tons of museums, but you do have to pay for things, so if you can find passes that let you into multiple museums, I would definitely recommend that. France makes a ton of tourism. You will spend a lot of money going to France. I would say as far as the city costs itself, London was a little bit more kind of for the food and everything, but Paris is definitely comparable. But France has so much more. They have Mont Saint Michel out west, Normandy, France. It was really fascinating to see all that stuff on the D-Day anniversary. It was like the most French 4th of July ever. So if you're a history buff, make sure you go check that out. I have some really cool videos on that I can put up here in the end for you, as well as just the French countryside is beautiful. Number 2, my bias might be starting to show a little bit because I went to a festival in this country. That is Belgium. Kind of an overlooked country in my opinion, not a lot of people talk about it. Honestly, Belgium just has this feel-good atmosphere. I really enjoyed being there, but the people in Belgium are super nice and kind. I would say the kindest in Europe. They're really open to striking up conversations. In fact, a lot of people struck up conversations with me as a traveler as opposed to the opposite, which was kind of the case in most other countries. And so they're super kind and, you know, like, oh, welcome to Belgium, blah, 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 blah. They're kind of split. Half the country speaks French, half speaks Dutch, but both speak English fairly well. Not the cleanest, but they speak it, and what can I say? I don't know their language, so fantastic. They have the Atomium, which was a lot of fun to go see in Brussels, but there's these beautiful, beautiful historic centers that are still really well intact. You have the Grand Place in Brussels that was amazing, super, super pretty. Bruges is really nice. You can go through and kind of wander this old romantic feeling town, wandering through Ghent and seeing all the canals and the castles. It was beautiful. So Belgium is really, really cool. And then top of the list, this will come as no surprise, and once again my bias is probably pretty heavy. Number 1 is Deutschland, Germany. The whole trip was sort of built around going to Germany and Wacken open air, which I made another video about. Feel free to check out that video about Wacken. I went to Stuttgart, Bavaria, Berlin, and Cologne. So there's a lot of videos on Germany, so check that out. There's just so much rich tradition there mixed with so much new art. Like, that's the best way to describe it. A bunch of traditional food and dress and things like that, and just these beautiful natural environments. You know, one of the most interesting places historically with their division. There's just so much art and whatnot that came out of that these cities have flourished with that, and Germany has become the central for art. And it's really fun to explore and wander around, as well as the German breads are very good. Not quite up to France's level, but Germany's definitely next up there in my opinion. As well as Germans just have this sense of adventure. They just want to get out in the world and see it, and I really resonate with that. And they're also really friendly. They're not necessarily like the Belgians where they're like, oh hey, how you doing, sort of like Americans. Germany, and especially Berlin, is one of the most diverse places in the world. So many immigrants have come there bringing their own culture, so it's really one of the biggest melting pots in the world. This huge international city in Berlin, and it filters out to the rest of the country. That food and cultural wise, there's just so much there. There's so much different things you can explore and try. I love Germany. I had a lot of fun going there. Hoping to go back and explore much more soon. So make sure you click subscribe if you want to see that, as well as some of the other vlogs that will hopefully be coming forward in the next year or two. Top of my list is Italy. I want to go to Greece really bad. You need to go check out the Iberian Peninsula with Spain and Portugal, Norway, more of Sweden. Definitely much more to come. I want to go to Poland, as well as Croatia and Albania, stuff like that. So there's much more to explore in Europe. So definitely make sure you click subscribe and come hang out. If you're curious about what I travel with, the cameras I use, the backpacks I have, passport holders, anything like that, I have Amazon links in the description below, so make sure you check those on out. Find something for yourself that you might need. And remember, whatever your dream vacation is, wherever it is you want to go, it's absolutely possible. There's a reason that is in your head. So follow your dreams and make them happen. Get out there and go create the world.